What's up, everybody? Time for another Picks and Parlays Power Hour. It's Thursday, August the 18th, and we have got some football to run through for you. We're not only talking NFL, we've got some college football, some EPL, and some Canadian football involved on the show today. I've got three expert handicappers. We've got Jesse, we've got Cameron Ross, and Nick Earl all here to do some chatting. But before we get started, can everyone just like and subscribe? Ring that bell for notifications. Give us the old thumbs up. We've got tons of free content, free picks coming your way every single day, all day long. And you don't want to miss out. So just jam on that little bell and it's going to help you out a whole lot. Another thing worth mentioning is our official sponsor. It's BetMGM, up to $1,000 in a risk-free first bet for all new accounts that sign up with BetMGM. Just download that app onto your phone and then use the promo code MORNING. Morning is going to get you all hooked up, or just check out the description of this video and click on the link. All right. So with me today, I've got Jesse Schultz here from Picks and Parlays talking EPL. How's it going, Jesse?
Going pretty good, running hot.
Well, that's the best way to run. I saw you over on the Picks and Parlays leaderboards. You are number one on our hottest cappers list. Number one over the last 7 days with a record of 19-5. You're up $1,300 for anyone following Jesse's picks. So talk to me about Bournemouth and Arsenal. It's going on this Saturday. What's your look on this one?
Well, Allie, you might remember I mentioned Arsenal last week. I was a team I liked, but they were a little bit overpriced, I thought. But they did end up getting the win. They are now 2-0. They have a +4 goal differential, and they are tied for first in the Premier League so far with 6 goals in 2 matches. They're playing Bournemouth, which is 1-1, -2 goal differential, and they are coming off a 4-0 loss to Manchester City. They did score twice in a home game against Aston Villa in their season debut. Arsenal should win this game, but I'm looking at the total. I like over 2.5. Arsenal's got some new players. They were really good in the preseason here. 20 goals in 5 matches before the season got started. One of their new players, Gabriel Jesus, comes over from Manchester City. He's a talented guy that played well for Manchester City. He found it difficult to get into their lineup, though, because they have so many talented players. But with Arsenal, he's going to see a lot of playing time. 2 matches, he's got 2 goals and 2 assists so far. Looking for him to have a big game here. 6 of the last 8 head-to-head meetings between these two teams have seen at least 3 goals. So I think the total of 2.5 looks pretty appetizing if you want to play the over.
And what's the juice on that 2.5?
I believe it's somewhere in the 130, 140 range.
Okay, because I do like a soccer total that's a little bit juicier, just because the way that soccer can run, gets a little scary sometimes betting on the footy, but over 2.5 seems totally normal for an Arsenal game. So I'm with it. Nice breakdown. I'm there with you. So let's move into the NFL now. We're talking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're at the Tennessee Titans. Bucs are coming off in their last game. They lost to the Dolphins by 2 points. Dolphins covered by 3, and that game did go over by 17.5. Titans last game went over by 5. The Ravens covered it by 9.5. Tennessee lost by 13. So now what we're dealing with here is we've got the total at 38.5 and Tennessee -3. What are your thoughts on this one, Jesse?
Difficult game for me to cap because both these teams are on my fade list. Not a big fan. I've done the projections for season win totals, and I'm going under on both of these teams. And you look at the head coach's preseason records. You got Todd Bowles, 7-10 record in the preseason. Mike Vrabel, 4-8 in the preseason. One thing, though, is Tampa Bay, they did play quite well in their loss. In fact, they had a opportunity to win the game. They missed a potential game-winning field goal in that loss to the Dolphins. And their quarterback play was pretty solid. We all know that Tom Brady has stepped away from the team, but Kyle Trask threw for 258 yards on 25 of 33 passing, which is pretty good for a guy like him. And they do have Blaine Gabbert, who is a veteran. He was 5 of 5 for 56 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, he didn't see a lot of action, but when he was on the field, he played pretty well. if he gets time in this game, that bodes well for the Bucs. Logan Woodside, on the other hand, the quarterback that saw the most time for the Titans, was terrible. 14 of 24, 102 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Malik Willis, he was electrifying with his legs, but after the game, Mike Vrabel said that he wanted him to throw the ball and he wouldn't throw it, so he yanked him, which doesn't sound all that great, even though he looked great running the ball. I'm going to reluctantly say that I would take the points with the Bucs based on superior quarterback play and based on the fact that neither of these head coaches take these games seriously. You're in a position where you might as well just take the points, in my opinion.
I'm not opposed to that, and I like Kyle Trask. He's a Florida kid, wasn't he? I liked him. I feel like he's going to do good things. He's got a great mentor in front of him with Tom Brady, obviously. And I feel like whenever in doubt, just take the points and work it out is how I go with that one. Do you have any feelings on a total? I mean, out of the 17 games we saw in the preseason, that includes the Hall of Fame game, it was a lot of totals. I believe only 3 went under. So what do you think about this week for preseason, week 2? Are we going to see more unders? The odds makers have risen those numbers up quite a bit.
Well, anytime you see something like that happen where the over hits, at such a high percentage, you expect the bookmakers to compensate. It might take the bettors might pile on as well. If those numbers start creeping up even a little higher, which they may do, I think the value would be on the under. One thing worth pointing out is the Bucs have some offensive line issues. They've lost their first and second string center. That might slow their offense down a little bit. So I would lean toward the under, especially if you can get some value if this line gets bet up a little more closer to game time.
And don't forget, teasing is an option. Maybe the Bucs and the under in a teaser would not be a horrible idea. Sometimes we like to do tricky things like that. Do you tease, Jesse? Are you a teaser at all?
I've been known to tease from time to time.
All right. Well, that's another show. Okay. So people at home, if you want to check out Jesse, I suggest that you do. Sorry, I called you Jesse Schultz. You're Jesse Schul. That's his name, Jesse Schul. He is #1 at picksandparlays.net. He is the hottest capper on the site right now. So head over to picksandparlays.net and use the promo code NFL. That's going to save you 20% off whatever you get from Jesse. Thank you so much for joining the Power Hour today.
Thank you, Allie.
No problem at all. All right, guys, let's remember, like and subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications. Do it right now. Hurry up. All right, so up next on the Power Hour, I've got Nicholas Earl from Earl Sports Bets here. We're going to talk some CFL and some more NFL. Nick, what's happening, friend?
Not too much. We got a preseason NFL. We've got the CFL continuing to go. I believe it's week 11 in the CFL, so it should be they're continuing on their season. We got baseball, of course, as well. So going good.
It's all good. It's all good stuff. So we're talking the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Montreal Alouettes. We've got Hamilton coming off a win against Toronto last week, 34-27. They covered by 7.5 points. It went over by 15.5. Montreal beat Winnipeg last week, 20-17. They covered by 12 and it went under by 11.5. So a little bit tricky. We've got a big over coming against a big under. The total on this one's 48.5 and Montreal is the favorite by 3. So how are we looking at this?
Yeah, usually when I look at these Hamilton Tiger Cats games, you've been able to make money with them this year, even as bad as they've been, because they're 3-6 so far this year, but they're a profitable team if you're playing them a certain way, and that's kind of where I'm going to go for this one. I've given this out a few times on free pick videos before. I like them in the first half only. We've noticed that the Tiger Cats are a team that likes to jump out to early leads and then blow them late. I don't know if it's a mental thing for them or anything like that, but I believe up until last week they were undefeated in the first half in games, and they lost the first half but won the full game against these Alouettes last week. These two teams are big division rivals, so I expect the Tiger Cats to come out here, look to show up on the road a little bit. Only taking them first half. I do not trust them full game, but I like the Tiger Cats in this spot.
So then on the flip side of that, would you take Montreal full game or just lay off
I wouldn't. I like the Ticats in general. I think that this is a team that's better than the 3-6 record that they have. This is a team that's won the Eastern Division back-to-back years and made the Grey Cup back-to-back years. So I do expect better from this Tiger Cats team. So I would lean towards them full game as well, but I don't trust them full game. So that's hence the only the first half there.
Okay, fine. Fair. That is fair. I had to ask, Nick. I had to ask. Any leans on the total? 48.5?
The CFL has been generally an over league this year. I've noticed a lot because some of their rules and stuff like that lend themselves to more offense. So definitely a lean towards an over in this game.
Okay, just had to ask. I'm here, you're here, you have the information, I have the questions. Seems like it makes sense. I can't believe we're doing this pick without all of our best friends, Detroit Lenny, but we are going to talk some NFL. We're doing the Lions at the Colts. It's going down on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Detroit last week, that game went over by 15.5. The Falcons covered it by 5.5. Detroit lost by 5. Indy over by 13.5. They were at the Bills, and the Bills did cover by a hook, Indy losing by 3. So now this week we've got Indy +3 at home, and the total's 38.5. So what are we saying? What are we thinking here? Oh, wait, sorry. I must have my thing wrong. Lions are -1.5. The total's 39.5. Sorry, I have my things all messed up. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, actually, this line's moved. I've seen this move.
3, right? Okay.
It is now a 3. This was a line last night that Lenny had that it's moved since then. And I'm going to still stick with my pick for this one here. I like the Lions in this game a little bit here, and I lean towards the under in this spot. Obviously, one thing that I do like to look at here when it comes to the preseason are teams that were slight dogs that turn into slight favorites, or slight favorites that turn into that -3 range. And that's kind of what I was following along with last week, which led us to a 13-2 week on the site. And we've noticed this as well with the Lions here. Even though I'm seeing around 81% of the tickets and 95% of the cash coming in on the Colts here in this game, this line's moved only towards the Lions. So this is not one of my favorite games of the week, but this may end up making my card the more and more I look at it. And I do like the under a little bit of this as well. I expect a lot more unders this week with these lines going up to these 39, some in the 40s, 42s. I see 43.5, 44 in one game. I expect some more unders this week than we saw last week, obviously, because last week was an overpalooza. But for this one, yeah, I would probably lean towards an under in this game as well. But I'm gonna side with the Lions here, and shout out to Detroit Lenny for that one.
Even though it's a -3 now, viewers, remember it is a -3 now, and we are okay with that. We've just got a little graphic issue here, but no big whoop. Lines change. Everybody knows that. Now, like you said, your preseason kicked butt. Over at picksandparlays.net, you guys are #1 in the NFL preseason. You were 13-2, and you're up just about $1,100 right now. So kick butt. I know over at Earl Sports Bets, it's not just about the baseball or preseason. They do Canadian football. They do WNBA. These guys are sharp, and they've got all your bases covered over at picksandparlays.net. Nick, anything else to add to that equation?
No, that's just about it for right now. Obviously, we have the bigger sports coming back soon as well, college football and the NBA and the NHL and all that fun stuff. But yeah, right now it's the 4 that we're doing.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful time of year. All right, Nick Earl, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, check out Earl Sports Bets all over the internet, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of it. And check them out every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on picksandparlays.net for Game Time Decision. Bye, Nick. See ya.
See you.
All right, one more capper to go, and it's Cameron Ross. But before I unleash him upon you, you must like, you must subscribe, and you must ring the bell for notifications. Go ahead, I'll wait. We good here? Beautiful. Okay, so Cameron Ross, come on into my power hour. How you doing, sugar?
What's going on?
Not a lot. Lots of fun stuff. Lots of things to talk about. It's fun because we've been so stuck on baseball for so many weeks after weeks, and now it's like EPL and Canadian and preseason and all this stuff. How are you feeling about all the excitement?
I'm excited. I'm pumped. You talk about it. I write about all this stuff. So when I started writing about it, I knew it was close.
Yeah, it's good. Check out Cameron Ross's articles along with his premium plays over at picksandparlays.net. Cam, I'm going to start you off with some college football, if that would be all right. We're talking Vanderbilt at Hawaii. Now, you know what I always say, only degenerates bet the Hawaii game, but you're in luck because I'm a degenerate. So let's go. Goes down on Saturday at 10:30 Eastern. Hawaii is a +6.5. The total on this one's a 55. Clearly, that has moved to a +7. Total did stay the same, 55.5. No preseason in college, guys, so nothing to report unless it came from last year. This is a clean, fresh slate right now. Cam, give me your rundown.
This Vanderbilt team, I just really can't get jiggy with them. They were 2-10 last year. They're like 3 or 4 and 100 in the last 3 or 4 years. They're by far the worst SEC team in the whole conference. They don't have a lot to do anything. They don't do anything on either side of the ball. They averaged just over 300 yards a game last year and 16 points, which was terrible, especially in the SEC. This is supposed to be the elite conference.
Yeah.
And now they have to open their season and travel all the way from Tennessee all the way to Hawaii. That's just a big stretch. And, I'm not at all saying Hawaii is an elite team because, unfortunately for them, they're not. But they were 6-7 last year, which is, fantastic and everything like that compared to Vanderbilt. But Hawaii is more so in a rebuild. Cordero, their quarterback, is now at San Jose State, so they're going to have to figure out where that's going to go. But they have a new coach in Timmy Chang, and he's expected to bring a different look to their offense. They're going to air it out. They're going to throw the ball in bunches. They're going to throw the ball probably 30, 40, 50 times a game. Neither one of these teams is a team that I'm going to be looking to ride all year, but I just don't trust Vanderbilt. Hawaii, they get a chance to play an SEC team at home. They're going to be excited. The first game of the year. I don't know if Hawaii can win, but I do think they're going to cover this 7 points and keep it close enough to keep their fans in the game throughout.
Do you have any feelings on a total?
It's probably going to be like 1,000 points.
Okay, so over.
Yeah.
We're going to go with an over.
That's what I'm saying, because Vanderbilt can't stop anything,
right?
And I think this is going to be one of, if not the only game of the year where Vanderbilt gets to show off that they're an SEC team.
That's fair. That's a very good angle there. I mean, well, yeah, there we have
still
it.
An SEC team, and this is going to be probably the only game of the year where you actually think, wow, they're an SEC team, because they're not playing another SEC school. They're not playing a Power 5. It's a long trip. It's at least going to be 2 flights to get there, but it's going to be.
But they're not going to travel day of game. I mean, they'll be there for a day or two, because it's not like we're in regular season right now. They'll be there a day or two before.
Oh yeah,
right?
I'm sure they'll be there, but it's still going to be 2 flights, because you fly from Tennessee to California, which is 4.5, 5 hours, and then it's like 5 more hours from California to Hawaii.
Well, I mean, even for when the West Coast teams play Hawaii always has the distinct advantage that you got to fly to Hawaii to get there. It's like a Laramie, Wyoming, or a Morgantown, West Virginia. It's just tough to get there. So that alone for the opposing team is a problem,
Yeah,
so
and it's going to be, the game's at 10 or 10:30, but that's Vanderbilt time. It's going to be like 4:00 in the afternoon.
That's not actually how East Coast, West Coast time works, but okay.
I'm just saying, it's going to be it's a huge time difference as well that they're going to have to deal with for, even if they're there for 3 or 4 days. A 6-hour difference is huge. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot, definitely. Okay, so let's move it. So that's what we're doing. We're taking Hawaii plus the touchdown, and we are leaning towards an over on this one. Again, if you're a teaser, you might want to tease Hawaii in the over. That might be a thing that you're doing. I know a lot of us like to tease a lot. Okay, so let's go. Raiders at the Dolphins, Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Raiders did cover by 1.5. They won last week by 6 against the Minnesota Vikings. That total went over by 17.5. The Dolphins went over by 17.5. Also, they covered at the Bucs by 3. Now we have got, let me check on what line you guys have. The line I have right now is Miami +1, and the total is 40.5. Okay, so not too far off there. I just went up a hook there. What are you looking at on this one, Kama?
Yeah, unlike a lot of teams so far in the preseason, Miami went 1 quarterback last week. Skylar Thompson, he's 20 for 28. He looked good. and they got the win. But also, unlike most teams in the preseason, this is going to be the Raiders' third game, and the Raiders, they're 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest difference, I think, in this game for the Raiders is, everybody's letting their ones go early. If they do let the ones go, Derek Carr's not seeing a lot of time. The Raiders are pulling everybody. I don't even think Derek Carr played this past week. But the Raiders have like 3 or 4 really good running backs. And they've run for 299 yards in their 2 games. So I think the Raiders are going to lean on that again. I think they're going to run the ball well. I think they're gonna play make. They have a new head coach in Josh McDaniels who clearly wants to win games, clearly wants to show that he can do it, but he's an offensive-minded guy. So I think he's going to keep trying to work out the kinks of this offense, figure things out. But again, the Raiders have all these running backs. They have 3 or 4, maybe even a 5th running back, but they can't carry all these guys. But all these guys are running hard. They're figuring it out. They're playing well. And I think the Raiders are going to continue to roll. I would imagine this game could get close, hover around that total. I don't really have a side as far as the total, but I think the Raiders are going to cover the 1 point. It may come down late. They may kick a field goal and win it, but I do think the Raiders are going to improve to 3-0 this preseason.
But end of the day, you would just money line this, right? You wouldn't lay the 1.5. With a 1.5, you just hit the money line, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, that's what I would do too. I don't.
It's not going to be that expensive.
Yeah.
But if they win by 1 and I push, I'm pissed. But if they win by 1 and I lose, I'm really pissed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's probably like a minus 130.
Probably 140 maybe.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Not too bad at all. So depending on what that juice is, if it's under a minus 130, I would just money line it. If it's not, then maybe look to tease it again. That's the theme of the show is tease it.
Yeah.
That's just about it. So Cam, you, my friend, are also crushing picks and parlays leaderboards. You are number 4 for all picks. You are up $772 over at the site. NFL preseason, you were 3-1, so excellent work there. We have got all of Cam's premium plays over at picksandparlays.net. Make sure you use the promo code NFL. That's going to save you 20% off whatever you buy. Thank you, Cam, so much for stopping by the Power Hour. I'll see you again next week.
See you. Good luck, everybody.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. That wraps up the Power Hour. If you missed any of the picks, we'll just rewind it. It's the power of technology. You'll be just fine. Catch us tomorrow and every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern right here at picksandparlays.net. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Good luck, everybody.